program, go to elevatorradioshow.com and do a keyword search for show number 523.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds, when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway? Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to the program. Thank you for joining us today. Yes. Hoo. Yeah. Right on. See, if that doesn't get you jazzed up, I don't know what will. Anyway, I hope everybody's surviving your winter. And just so you know, February is almost over. One more day, or 2 more days, I should say. Today's the 27th. Tomorrow is the 28th. And that means that spring is closer, I guess. Again, I think the second week in June is when I officially have considered that it will not snow again until fall. That's typically where I go at. But anyway, it's good to be here this morning, this early morning. In fact, I'm tired. I got tons of stuff to do at work. It's just one of those deals where I'm just going to plow through as much as I can, as quickly as I possibly can, but just not enough hours in the day. We do have a good show for you today, as I mentioned in the blog show notes. If you are not, if you haven't seen them or if you haven't read them and you're just listening to the podcast through iTunes or NTunes or whatever thing has picked up this program, or YouTube, not a lot of content on the program, but a few articles that are important enough to share my own personal comments on and my opinions. Before I even get into those comments and opinions, I do want to let everybody know that they're my own opinions. They may not be right. They may not be correct. Please do not subpoena me for any kind of information because I don't have any. And I'm just speaking off of some of the experiences that I've had in the past from the manufacturing side of being an elevator company in our industry. So many of you out there have so much more information, so much more experience when it comes to dealing with building owners and elevators that perhaps may not be safe. I have just a small smidgen of experience with that, just talking to people on the phone, building owners over the phone, again, with equipment that is just older. So I'm sure I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth at some point along the line here. So the point of the whole thing in my rant right now is to let you know that what I discuss on the program is certainly my own opinion, does not reflect anything other than just my own opinion and my own experience. That's it. But please consider what I do share and the articles that I share and take them back to your companies. Talk about them as mechanics, talk about them as inspectors, talk about them as contractors, as elevator owners. Talk about them in a circle so that we all can somewhat be on the same page in how we deal with some of the issues that are definitely out there as they relate to equipment that may or may not be unsafe and whose owners may or may not want to or have the funding to invest into their systems. So anyway, I don't know how much more politically correct I can say it than that, but you'll get the gist as soon as I get into the program. Also, we have the show notes. We have the prize pack giveaway on today's program. So we'll be giving away a $100 Visa gift card, credit card deal, where you can go spend it frivolously on hand, arm warmers, whatever, foot warmers, socks, whatever you want to spend on it, you can spend it on. So one of you listeners will walk away or be sent one of those gift certificates or those credit card deals. Anyway, we'll get into the show notes next and have you out of here in no time.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
Okay, first news article was pretty interesting. You don't see too many of these on, in the interweb space. But what is interesting about it is this coming from the CBC.ca news source, which is Canadian, the Canadian Toronto News Agency, or one of them, one of the many probably. Title of this one is Death of Hotel Worker in 2016 Elevator Accident Leads to $200,000 in Fines. Ministry of Labor investigation finds failure to ensure elevator was in good condition. 3 years after a hotel worker was killed by blunt force impact one, an elevator door fell on him. An event company and a condo company were asked to pay $100,000 for their roles in the accident. Ministry of Labor found that the owner of this hotel and the residents that the company runs events at the hotel had both violated different sections of the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Again, this falls under what in America or United States would be considered OSHA, or Occupational Health and Safety Authority. Could be Act 2, I don't know. Anyway, but the investigation by the ministry found that the worker who was helping to set up holiday decorations died because of a cord being open. Holding open the door on a freight elevator snapped, causing it to fall on him. Investigators discovered that the cord being used to keep the door open was not the original strap, but a black stage cord. Again, I don't quite understand how this all happens or whatnot, or the details of the accident, but it kind of sounds a little concerning. The original strap had been broken for 2.5 weeks by the time of the November 15th accident, something the maintenance manager of the event company was aware of. So anyway, this event company was found to have failed to ensure the elevator was maintained in good condition. Building owner Toronto Standards Condominium Corporation had also been fined or had been let the elevator continue to be used without ensuring necessary repairs were made. So this, as it relates to a worker fatality, and it's just awful, it's and I'm certain there's some litigation probably pending this. You wouldn't see necessarily too many articles related to this on the front page or as a lead story in some major news cast or news piece online or anywhere for that matter. In the United States, it would probably be just buried to some extent, either in some report or something else. I don't really know. My point here is that, and there's another article I'm going to kind of cover relating to another accident later on, which leads me or has me asking the following question. At what point are we liable? At what point do we know? At what point should we walk away from a customer or client, knowing completely that A, they have no interest in maintaining or ensuring their elevator is in safe working order, and B, they're cheaper than cheap can be as it relates to that first section. As a manufacturer, I do get a chance to talk to building owners on occasion, and while there are some good building owners out there, I'm not putting them all into one box, there are some bad ones. The reality is that there are some bad ones who literally do not want to spend money, who do not want to invest in their elevator systems, who do not take recommendations from elevator contractors or manufacturers seriously. And the question here is, at what point, what more can we do? I mean, it's fine to send letters to our customers. I have a couple of customers I have to send a letter to every January indicating that there may or may not be issues with how equipment is being used. But at what point is that just not enough? You know, I mean, that's fine and dandy when it comes into a court of law, but at the end of the day, is it better just to walk away? Is it just better to say, I'm not selling to you because this is not, or I'm not going to maintain your equipment because it's just crap, and somebody's going to get injured, at what point is it worth it to you to literally have to take that kind of risk and liability? I'm certain that on the contracting side, there are building and owners out there, or elevator owners out there, or management companies that jump from company to company to company, just trying to get the best value, best deal. But ultimately, we need to look as mechanics, as inspectors, as elevator contractor owners, building owners, as sales managers, at steps we all can take to ensure that the equipment that we're working on and stuff is being worked on, is safe. And whether or not we should just walk away and say, hey, we are terminating a contract with you because there are issues that are not being taken care of according to our expertise as elevator people, and the fact that they are not safe. So I think we all kind of need to take up a step up on that and do our part. Not necessarily to avoid fines, but to ensure that people are safe, people don't die. So this news article here is finding the company, the elevator owner, who is optimally, or ultimately, I should say, responsible for the equipment. The elevators, the escalators, the dumbwaiters, they are ultimately responsible, no matter their expertise, at ensuring that the equipment, that elevators, escalators, moving walkways are maintained to a degree that are safe for all to use. And that goes for any type of machinery, any type of basic necessity as it relates to the safety of people. And that goes for me too. I'm a owner of a company. It's my responsibility to make sure my people are safe, to the best of my ability. Am I perfect in that? No, I'm not perfect in that. But I do try my best. I do my best to ensure that we got proper protection equipment available. Just stuff like that. It just it doesn't take much for an injury to occur. So anyway. And I'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit as I relate to a couple more articles here, okay? And nobody wants to be in the back end of an article like this at all, whether you're an elevator or building owner, and perhaps maybe you can use this article to shed some light and to also share the importance of the responsibility of the elevator owner in making sure that their equipment is kept safe and all that good stuff. So next news article, elevator operator survives 4-story fall down elevator shaft in New York. ABC 7 News. Not a whole lot of information on this. It was apparently, I don't know how it could be non-life-threatening. Well, no, I guess it could be non-life-threatening. It could be a terrible accident. I mean, obviously, injury. Not a lot of information. Apparently, the only statement is that the 49-year-old man was on the third floor of the building when he stepped into an open shaft, but there was no elevator there. Yeah, that should never happen. Should never happen. We all know that. Yes, we do. Fortunately, just another New York issue to deal with, and I don't know. I don't want to get to the point where I don't want to ride elevators in New York. Do you? Next news article, kind of dumb. It's a blazer stuck in Boston elevator. Should have just dropped this at the later on in the show. Everybody's okay. Slow news day in Boston. Okay, the next two articles are the ones that I want to talk about as well. Okay, these are the ones that kind of tie into the first rant that I went on, or the first opinion piece that I went on. First one was this JP hospital accident where a nurse was injured when apparently details of this Star Telegram report indicate that when the nurse had stepped into the elevator did not stop moving, and she was crushed. It was terrible. I mean, it's a terrible incident, obviously. One that should never happen, one that should not never have happened. And the amount of press that covered this article in the manner in which the hospital literally just went out into the public and shared the news is, I've never seen it before, which is definitely interesting. Next news article, again from the Star Telegram, and the title is "Contractor Warned JPS to Stop Repairing Elevators Themselves a week before nurse's injury." Again, we all have dealt with customers or contractors who, building owners, let me just back up a minute. I'm not going to generalize this, okay? So I'm going to speak from my own experience. Simply in listening to people talk on the phone, mechanics, building owners, whatever, who have shared scary stories, who have sent me photos of horrible elevators. And I got to say, when there is a safety concern, the first thing out of my mouth is, you need to lock that elevator out. And I will tell people that is going to kill somebody. The condition that you are showing me of a lock or something frozen is going to kill somebody, no matter how the people at the facility know how to get around it or do whatever. I can't tell you how many times I've heard about customers who have called, who have said, hey, how could something like this happen? How could a door lock get defeated? When at the end of the day, it could only have happened through human interaction with it, with some type of tool or some type of device. That's just the bottom line. Now, we can't prevent stupid. We can't stop stupid from happening. But we can't also share with people how to reset elevators, how to do minimal maintenance so that they can get the elevators running again. Trust me, I've seen and I've talked to people who, the building maintenance people, have some experience in how to do general troubleshooting on elevators. And I cringe when I get calls from people like this or emails. Hey, I got an elevator, one of your controllers. Can you help me with it? I'm like, no, I can't. Get an elevator First question is, hey, who's your elevator contractor? Do you have one? Can I recommend one for you? So those two stories and just what's out online in relations to it are pretty significant. Pretty significant. It is not the kind of cluster any of us wants to be in, obviously. We don't want to see any injuries on any of our equipment. I'm certain that whenever there is an accident or an injury or a stalled elevator in the news, I guarantee each one of us is thinking to ourselves, is that one of my jobs? Is my equipment on that lift? And then you start thinking, was it maintained? Was it, how old was it? It's a nightmare. I mean, it's really a nightmare. So my advice is, and this is just my own experience, I'm not referring to this accident in Houston. I just find it very interesting to see just how visible and how out in the world this thing is. I mean, it's just a basic war, it sounds like, so it's not going to end anytime soon either. But let's all take steps to make sure, if we know our building owners and maintenance people that are sweeping floors and fixing the coffee pot or working on elevators, we really need to make sure that somebody's notified that it's dangerous, that should not be done. Put it in writing at the very least. Send it to your customer. The very least, if you don't do that, you will be sued regardless if you have a letter or not. But at least in the end, you can notify them that you are aware that this is happening and that what could lead to it if it continues to happen. Let the experts figure out when there's an accident, whether or not somebody else could have done something to the elevator who was not trained to do so, whether or not that could have been the reason for the accident. So that's my advice. Put it in writing, notify somebody, your customer, send it certified mail. Again, nothing you can do or all of it is not necessary. You can't prevent everything, but at the same time, if there's an unsafe situation, lock it out, walk away. Anyway, nobody be happy after that point. Nobody. But if it prevents a life from being lost or anything like that, that's worth it in my book. So these 3 articles, the first one and then these 2, please print them out, share them, talk about them in your offices. Think about if this were you, what would you guys be doing differently or the same? That is my best advice for now. Again, these are all my opinions. I'm sure many of you out there have more to share. Again, attorneys, do not contact me. That's my own opinion. I do not have expertise in anything for that matter. I'm saying that on record. Have no expertise. that should get me out of any kind of deposition in the future, right? I repeat, no expertise in anything. Yeah. So when this recording comes back during some deposition, it should be pretty good. Yeah. Anyway, okay, next news article, and we'll get you out of here, is Joliet businessman calls for elevator upgrades. You don't see articles like this very often where you have a businessman walking into a city council meeting saying, hey, we need a new elevator or an upgrade at a local parking garage, which is kind of cool. You know, I mean, I always enjoy watching my local governing board in the town I live in. They have their monthly meetings. I always enjoy watching them on TV and see what's going on and give them a lot of credit, but it's just kind of cool. So I've never seen anybody asking for a new elevator or elevator upgrades. So, okay, next news article, $9 million project in Brockton, Massachusetts. High-rise elevators are going to be replaced. It's a lot of money for elevators, right? Man, wow. I know the grass is not always greener on the other side, but man, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Anyway, link on that is in the show notes. Let's see here. Next news article, CEA meeting. Oh, CEA meeting is next Thursday. SETIS is coming to present, and that will be held at the clubhouse in Oak Brook. So I think we'll have some guests in for the NAEC International Central Regional Conference, and so yeah, that'll be a busy week next week for sure. Speaking of which, the next one is the Central Regional Workshop. Not too late to sign up for that or to register. So that's Friday, March 8th and the 9th. And you can download the flyer, find out what the topics are for discussion. Get your QEI credits. Again, there's no better place to get your continuing education units as an inspector than right here. So through NAEC International. And they've been doing it for a long time. Okay, and the last link for the show, as a reminder, I did state last week that I would publish or I would link up the quarterly data report that cpwr.com had put out or put together, and that was the Center for Construction Research and Training. Title of it was Death and Injuries Involving Elevators or Escalators in Construction in the General Population. So that report has been linked up. Also, the website link to the company that put that together. And again, thank you to them for doing that and launching it. I think that information was extremely valuable also in what it shared in a lot of discussion. Hopefully it prevents accidents that are typically always preventable if we all do our part. So so that's pretty much the show, everybody. We're going to do the important prize pack giveaway now, and I'm going to just do my random number generator here. And if you're ever looking for a random number generator, just random.org will provide that for you. Okay, 1, and then my 5, 358, 3195. Okay, and the winner is Bill. Bill from the state of Texas, you are the winner of the $100 Visa gift card and the prize pack giveaway that contains a bunch of goodies in it. So as always, thank you for listening. And Bill, I'll send you an email confirming your address so that I can ship all that stuff to you. So as always, thank you so much for tuning in today. Please talk amongst yourselves in your offices and how you can prevent stuff from happening and whether or not we need to do more. I think we always need to do more, to be honest with you. So have a great rest of the week out there. Be safe as always. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.